Hey everyone, my name is Danilo Petrovic.
I'm Ilya Marchenko.
I'm Denis Kudla.
I'm Evgeny Donskoy.
I'm Henry Laaksonen.
I'm Peter Torebko, and you're listening to the Game to Love podcast.
Hello, welcome back, tennis fans. Here we go. It's another podcast, but this time we're talking about two people who have now been inducted into the ATP 500 Club. That's right. Ugo Humbert and Matteo Berrettini both making their first ATP 500 wins at the back end of last week. Fantastic stuff, mate. I love to see it, don't you?
I think it's really good because it's coming at a time now. We're going into the grass court swing. We've had the first few grass court tournaments. And from what I've seen of it, I don't want to go off on a tangent too early doors. There doesn't seem to be anyone really taking a commanding lead on the grass, apart from these two here. Ugo Humbert has looked amazing, and so has Berrettini. We've got Universal Human, shout out to you in the chat, helping us out a little bit, doing the notes for us. We've got Humbert seems to be a force to be reckoned with on the grass. He beats third seed Zverev, Sebastian Korda in quarters, Felix in the semis, and fourth seed Andrei Rublev in the final. Look at them players. They're all really class tennis players, all of them. And you'd all expect them to do very well on this surface as well. And Humbert has just destroyed them. He's played so well. Straight sets against Rublev in the final. I know you're probably going to bring up some of the route there and actually show us on the screen a bit more in depth, but it's like he's just so good. He simply is good. And when we're going into an event like Wimbledon, I've been watching quite a bit of Eastbourne on the TV because they're showing it on BBC Two. I don't know if you've caught any of it, but I've got it while I'm working. I have it on in the background. And there's so many class top players who we've seen this clay court swing who you'd look at. I did like an Iga Swiatek, and you think, oh, they're so good, but they can't seem to play on the grass. They don't look that good at all. Heather Watson, no. I don't know if they're going on right now. I've just been watching it before this. She was 4-1 up against her. She had the double break. And, well, we'll talk about Heather Watson at the end because I've got plenty to say about her. She's got a clearly terrible mentality. But ultimately, the top players are struggling on this surface because they've not played enough of it. So you look at, say, an Humbert. This is a great opportunity for him, I think, to have a great run. You've got Federer who's coming to the end of his career, not looking great. Nadal's pulled out. Obviously, Djokovic is going to be the man to stop, no doubts about it. But there's a big gap, I feel, for anyone really in the top 10 who I think they're beatable, basically. That's what I'm trying to say. And Ugo Humbert can beat anyone inside the top 10 on grass. Yeah.
Well, within reason, I think. I think don't get too carried away. I think Novak
he's beating Zverev there. Look at that.
I think Novak Djokovic would have a thing or two to say about that. I don't think anybody. I think you could beat a lot of these top 10 players if it's their first matches on grass. I think once they've warmed up onto the surface, if there's a chance, there's obviously about 2-3 weeks, so there's not much chance. I think it's looking great, though. Humbert, he got another win today. It was a tough fought one, especially after all those 3-set matches he had to play last week. There is, 1, 2, 3, 4 in a row, and then managed to get it done in straight sets, luckily, in the final.
Yep.
He managed to overturn the defeat from the week before. I don't know if you just saw that just down there. He obviously lost to Felix the week before in straight sets, 2 tie breaks. Managed to overturn it this time. Very, very well played. Shows he's got resilience. Battle of the youngsters as well. Felix, another good young player on the grass. Someone people might want to watch out for this Wimbledon swing because I think he's got the game for it. And the only thing he lacks is the mentality for finals.
Well,
Everything
he got to the final, didn't he, of Stuttgart, was it? The one before? Against Cilic. And then he lost the final. But Cilic is a really good grass court player. But there's very few and far between. I'm not sure if there's many grass courters, which means the young players who are very good have a really good shot at Wimbledon. And that's why I think I agree with what Universal Human was saying at the start. I'm so excited for the Wimbledon draw. Saying here, cannot wait to see the Wimbledon draw. I know Djokovic is the favourite. I'm just curious about the other picks. It seems wide open.
Medvedev number 2.
I couldn't agree more. I think this is going to be the most wide open Wimbledon we could potentially see. But then on the other hand, I look at it from another perspective and just think, I don't understand how Djokovic doesn't win. Like, you'd have to think something drastic has to happen for him not to win. But in terms of a player making a semi-final or final run without facing a Djokovic, it's wide open. It really is.
That can be a negative thing, though, going into a tournament like this when there's no pressure on somebody and all the expectation for Djokovic to win it. He might not. And you don't know. I mean, obviously, he's going to be a heavy favourite. Obviously, he's going to be most people's picks. But look at someone like Ugo Humbert and how well he's playing at the moment. He's digging deep and he's finding results at the moment on grass. And he's one of the only players who's doing it.
Yeah.
We saw Berrettini, another one. And there's something, I mean, we can move over to Berrettini and show how he did as well. We got his, obviously, one in Queens, which we should be raving about probably a bit more.
A little bit more comfortable, I'd say, number in terms of he did it all in straight sets apart from the final.
Norrie, yeah. And that was what I was going to say. When I watched him play a couple of those earlier matches, there's a notable difference between him hitting the ball and his opponent a lot of the time. And they struggle because it whips off the surface. So he hits it so hard that they don't have time to even flick it back. It just goes into the net or it goes wide.
It's the serve, mate. The serve and the first forehand after the serve is just unplayable at times. And it begs the question, which I was going to ask you. I wanted to save it for the podcast. And Djokovic going to be the big favourite for Wimbledon. No doubts about that. We both agree. I think everyone in the chat, you'd have to be a ridiculous hater not to believe that he's going to be a massive favourite or stupid. Who is going to be the biggest threat to Djokovic? Because I physically can't pick a name. There's not one player I look at who I think, they're going to be a real... watch out. I think he could really trouble him. I'm just not sure. I really am not sure. And if I had to pick a name based off what we've seen, it's difficult because we've not seen Tsitsipas on the grass. Team, I don't know if you've seen him just now. He's 5-2 up against Mannarino. I was watching the match before here, and he retired with a wrist injury. I saw him with the trainer who's looking at his wrist. Whether that means he's going to be out of Wimbledon, I'm not sure, but it's not looking good for Dominic Thiem. I wouldn't put him as a big threat for Wimbledon.
No.
I know after all the things I said, you're probably looking at the man right here, Berrettini. I honestly, looking at the draw, probably a Zverev, a Tsitsipas, but then we've not seen anything from Tsitsipas.
No, this is it. But
what we're basing it off, Wimbledon, who went out first round, didn't he, last year or 2019 when it happened?
Mate, I think it's going to be hard to really put all of your money on Tsitsipas just based upon no match play on grass.
And when he did play in 2019, he lost. So it's very comfortably as well. I think it was against Fabiano, if I'm not mistaken. So it's just difficult to look at a body of work where you think, they're going to really do well and that they're going to trouble. It could be a complete surprise package, like an Ugo Humbert, like a Berrettini, someone who's not as high ranked as, say, in the top 10. I think they're just outside of it, but could really cause some damage. Maybe a Sinner or someone like that as well. But we've not seen him. He's got no experience on grass either. So
that's it, mate. I mean, it's a bit of a weird one, isn't it? It's a very strange one for the men's, but I've been having a look closely at a few players who've just been playing these tournaments. Obviously, there's one name you're forgetting. I don't know if anyone even considers him a threat at the moment. Roger Federer, he's going to be looking and thinking no one's really taking this on. He'll be using his experience more than anything. But for pure form, Berrettini, for me, he looks like the one who has the game to trouble most of the other field. I'm not including Djokovic in that, but most of the other people on there.
Who, Federer?
No, Berrettini. I think he is the one. Like I don't think Federer would even trouble him right now, playing the way he's playing. I think that Berrettini's got too much power, and I think like you said, his serving's great. If he gets his first serve going, then I think he's a tough match at anybody on the tour. And I'm not really sure. Like I'm looking down the list now. There's not many people on there that I can see might trouble him, which is really strange.
I think a good shout was from Universal Human, Cilic, Marin Cilic. Watch out for him.
I think so as well.
I don't think you can discount him. He obviously won in Stuttgart, didn't he? Beating Felix in the final. He's got experience on this stage.
Finalist at Wimbledon before.
Yep. Grand Slam champion. He can do it.
Exactly, mate. But I still think Tsitsipas, he could be one to watch on it. If he turns up and he just warms up if he gets a nice draw and warms up in the first few rounds, could be danger. But
I honestly, Ben, think the likes of a Tsitsipas, Zverev, Medvedev, Rublev, they're the big guys who we always talk about on the tour. None of them have really. I've looked at them and think, what? You know what? They could do something good. They could.
Not wow factor.
We're not seeing enough tournaments. Let's be honest. We've seen maybe one game or one match or a few from all of them, but I've just not seen anything what makes sort of puts them out as a threat for me, which is worrying. I know you can say someone who I've seen believe is coming to London. I don't know if you've seen this news. Nick Kyrgios. I saw a post today that he could be on his way to London, which if it's the case, then you'd think he's coming to London to play Wimbledon, but you never know with him. He might just be here to have a few beers in a club somewhere in London.
Trolling people.
Yeah, it could just be a whole trolling thing from him. But if he's to come to Wimbledon, would you not say this is his best shot of winning Wimbledon? Because I honestly would think it. I generally think it's his best shot. If he's on the other side to Djokovic, remember he's got a favourable record against Djokovic.
And remember, he only ever really struggles against Rafa at Wimbledon. It's when he normally meets Rafa. That's when he comes. But he normally takes a set and he comes a bit unstuck with these people who grind. But if he doesn't face anyone who does that and he's got his big serve firing, who knows? I think big servers are definitely people you want to watch out for, like the bangers saying here. Opelka, Query, your Isners. Yeah, they can. If they
not so much Query. I don't think he's mate. He's not playing very well recently.
Not the best.
Discount him.
Well, Vesely, I think that's a long shot as well. I think his best days are behind him, unfortunately. Norrie, I still think that he could make a good run. Gene's making a good point there. He'll be seeded at Wimbledon, apparently. So that's really good for him. Well done to Cam. I think that
it's exciting, man. It's exciting. It's not a Wimbledon we're going into where the options are endless. I feel like we always say this with every tournament, but you go Dimitrov. I'm not so convinced recently. I'm not seeing enough from him in just tennis in general. Roundich has pulled out.
Damn it.
So
trying to clutch at straws here.
Yeah, no,
what we got.
That's what I'm saying.
Gut was semi-finalists in 2019. What about him?
Yeah, potentially. I'd love to see it. I think I've got him winning the event, which is, I forget one he's playing, but the one he's playing in at the moment, I've got him winning.
Is it Mallorca?
I think so, yeah. You're right, yeah. But team right now, he's pulled out. Looks like he's not going to be out of the whole thing. But just to wrap up on these two, Ugo Humbert, Berrettini, congratulations to them. It's been super impressive. They've not just won, they've won comfortably. They've looked really good. Ugo Humbert probably playing, you could argue, better players, because I think Felix, Rublev, Zverev, a young Korda as well playing well. You've got to consider that as like world class, and even a Query in 3 sets. Berrettini, I don't want to be disrespectful, but Andy Murray is not at the same level, is he? I know you got a bit high on high on life on the last podcast, saying he's a dark horse for Wimbledon.
Well, he's in Wimbledon as well, don't forget. He's a former champ.
Nah, not for me, man. Not for me. You've got Dan Evans. He's not seemed to be. I don't know what he's doing since the clay, since Monte Carlo against Djokovic. He's just not seemed to turn up.
I know.
Cam Norris stealing the thunder for GB right now. He is the real man. He's the OG, mate. The real man on tour for GB, flying the flag. And talking about GB, I need to just talk about Heather Watson because she lost today. And I'm afraid, Ben, it's just simply not good enough. I was listening to the commentary, and as much as it's British commentators, they're trying to big up the British players. It was just infuriating me listening to it. You hear them cheering all of her good shots, and they're talking, trying to come up with theories about, when she went up 4-1 in the final set, they're talking like she's a world beater. Like, when Heather hits this form on centre court, not many people can stop her. And I'm just thinking, like, just steady on here. I've seen this before. I've seen this before from her. I remember against Serena Williams at Wimbledon. She was all over her however many years ago. And we thought it's just too much hype. And even the people in the crowd, I saw them going around. I think everyone's got to be 80 plus in there. I'll be surprised if there's anyone under 80 years old.
Mate, I told you.
A few of them are falling asleep there, so the atmosphere's not great. And they're just trying, they're just clapping just the British play. It just doesn't, the whole atmosphere just stinks to me, man. I think it just needs a revamp, the whole thing.
You don't even know who Iga is.
I was listening to the commentary, I was watching the thing, and it just was biased and it stunk. I didn't like it at all. I thought it was just dull. And then all of a sudden, they just were speechless because Iga just started playing a bit better. And no offense, Iga was terrible as well. She wasn't very good, but she found the way just to win in the end because Heather Watson just started. She went 4-1 up, and she thought, "Oh, you know what? I'm not going to try and hit winners anymore. I'm just going to start playing it safe and just try and hold on to what I've got." It's just too nervy. It's too nervy. Grow up. That's what I want to say. Just come on, make a match of it. She's so good, Heather Watson, when she's striking through the ball and playing confidently. But when she's not, she might as well not be there. She might as well just done what Dominic Thiem did and retire.
Well, it's sad to see. Heather Watson, hopefully she'll get a favourable draw for Wimbledon and we can see at least get through a few rounds.
I don't want to see it, man. I don't want to see it because she's got a weak mentality. I'm sick of watching her because there's so much hope every time. I remember watching that Serena one, like willing her to win, She just lets you down all the time. She's the biggest letdown there is.
Welcome to Britain, mate. Murray, we had many finals until we finally got it over the line. But that's what you get, mate. You support the Brits. You get taken around the works, mate. There's no easy watch or watch along when there's a British person involved. Unfortunately, it's a tough life. Even watching England football's the same, mate. So we're gonna have that pain later on. So just get used to it. Get used to watching something painful because you're gonna have another 90 minutes of it later on this evening. Which there's going to be some paint drying I might watch instead of watching that. Not sure.
Well, I know we did this podcast slightly earlier so we can catch England, but I was having a look at the group, mate, and it's actually better if England lose tonight. I don't know if you've seen that. In theory, if we finish third in the group, so we've qualified now from the group, if we finish third, we'll get a better draw in the next one than finishing second or first. I think if you finish first...
Is it the French group or something?
Yeah, you'll get against Portugal and if you top the group, you get Portugal or whatever they're called. So
Germany,
Portugal or Germany if you win the group. What a lovely reward that would
France be. France are the third place, aren't they?
Anyway, enough about the football. We've got Christina here from Italy saying, "Grande Matteo." I really like Matteo's chances. I'm going to be going quite big this Wimbledon. Luckily, I have the privilege of being half English, half Italian. I think I'm going to explore them Italian roots more than ever this Wimbledon. I know it's surprising being the home county Grand Slam, but I've just not been impressed by the British players, bar Norrie. Cam Norrie, I'll be cheering him on all the way. Aside from that, no, none of them. I'm afraid. None of the others. They've disappointed me too much. And I would love for the commentary just to be a bit more realistic when they're talking about it and just say, "Oh, she's brilliant, Heather Watson. The problem is she struggles with her mental side of the game and she just can't seem to get things over the line," rather than sugarcoating it and just saying, "Oh, well, this is what happens when you play Iga Swiatek, a real champion, the Grand Slam champion, what she is." She's playing terrible. She's hardly won on grass ever. She's not even playing well. It's about Heather Watson not playing well. That's the reason. But they can't say it as it is because they're just too wishy-washy and it's annoying.
Speaking at the moment, Coco Gauff's just been bageled by Elise Mertens in the first round there. That's my winner of Eastbourne. Off to a good start. Good to see that. Cheers, Coco, for that one. That's disappointing to say the least. I was hoping Coco would take to the grass like a duck to water, but she has not, it seems, unfortunately. Mertens, a real good player. Mate, I think we should touch on, obviously you're talking about Italians. I just wanted to say a quick shout out to another Italian who won an ITF, Luca Nardi. He won an ITF at the back end of last week. Keep your eyes open or peeled for him. He's going to be on the scene, hitting the Challenger Tour very soon, I'm sure. And then it won't be long. Another year or two, he'll be into those ATP events, I reckon.
Yep. And then we've got obviously the Wimbledon qualifiers going on right now.
Yes.
We will be doing a video just like we did for Roland Garros where we've got our top 5 or top 10 qualifiers to watch. And then we'll reduce the list to maybe 3 who we really think are the ones to watch. It's always quite fun to do. And me and Ben have a bit of rivalry there to see who can have some qualifiers who actually make it. So we've got all that going on. But I think we should probably do the Dossa of last week.
Well, mate, I've had to work round the clock to get 2 Dossas. It's a double Dossa week. So we'll start off with the week ending. Well, I don't think it's ending. The week when it should have been the 14th of June, covering the end of Roland Garros, I believe. So we'll start with that one and then we'll move on to the last week's one. Anyway, right. Don't even have the beginning thing. We're just going to go straight into it. So, it's that time again. Dossa of the week. Here are the nominees. First up, we've got Felix Auger-Aliassime. If cats have 9 lives, he's used up 8 of them, losing in the final again, this time to Marin Cilic in straight sets. Number 2, Iga Swiatek. She went out in straight sets to Maria Sakkari in Roland Garros. She couldn't defend her title. Then there's Holger Rune. He was 6-3, 5-3, love 15 down against Mikael Ymer, and then he decided to retire. Not sure that's very good sportsmanlike behaviour, but the winner is... Iga Swiatek. Wow,
that's so harsh.
I know, I thought so.
For the week.
I thought that was very harsh as well. I can't quite believe that was. She did very well, I thought, in Roland Garros, but the GTL fans spoke. And Iga got Dossa of the week, unfortunately, for losing in straight sets to Maria Sakkari.
Yeah, I think that's really harsh.
I think it's I thought it was.
I agree, universal human. That's not me either. I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't forget who I voted for, but it wouldn't have been Iga.
I was even
Sakkari was on fire at the time. She's young. We expected. The problem is we had so much expectations on her. I feel like the GTL community had so much hope on her. But Iga for me was not the correct Dossa.
What do you make of Holger Rune?
Well, apparently that's not the reason, mate. He was put on there. So let me know in the chat why he was actually on there, because I'm unsure.
I saw another thing, but I wasn't sure if I was supposed to mention it. It was he had some homophobic comments about an Italian player, Pellegrino, when he was playing. He was saying an F word that was very derogatory to him during the match.
Oh, then give it to him, mate. Holger Rune is mine then.
Yeah, mate.
Holger Rune's my Dossa. But we got Savante. Do we have the next one as well? Or
Yeah. So let's move to the next one. I wasn't sure because there was no reasoning put behind each of the things. I wasn't sure because they weren't written on there by Jordan. But I appreciate Jordan for giving us the winner. I'm sort of just trying to piece together the pieces from 2 weeks ago. So that's what I saw, that he retired 3 points away from the end of the match, which I thought, come on, mate. That's bad sportsmanlike behaviour as well.
Yeah, Rune was my Dossa. Jeans agrees as well.
Yeah, I think so.
But regardless of that, let's get on to the next week's.
So, we're back again, making up for lost time. Here is the nominations. It's Daniil Medvedev at number 1. He got knocked out in his first grass court match of the season to Jan-Lennard Struff in straight sets. Not a good showing. Number 2, Yannick Sinner. He got knocked out in the first round of Queens to young Brit Jack Draper. 2 tie breaks is all it takes. Number 3, Aryna Sabalenka. She went out on her first match on grass too, this time to Madison Keys. You're going to have to play a lot better than that if you're going to get your hand on that Wimbledon trophy. And the winner is... Dossa. Daniil Medvedev.
Boom. And that's actually one I voted for. I voted for Medvedev. I'm a big fan of him, but it's just not good enough. It really is. It needs to do a lot better than that. We're tipping him as like, the one to be the big threat at Wimbledon. You can't be losing first round like that.
Maybe this week it might be a bit better, though. He seems to have picked up a win. Was that today? And might be looking better this week moving forward, I think.
Yeah. I hope so, mate. I really hope so, because I love Medvedev, and he would have been my big sort of dark horse for Wimbledon. I can't really have him as a dark horse, but you know what I mean. There's my top 5 to watch, but it's just losing. Who did he lose to? Was it Struff in the first round? I believe.
Yeah, Struff in straight sets. Yeah,
it's not great, really. It's not a good look for him.
No, I mean, I think that one's a tough Dossa of the week. The first match everyone's played on grass and they all had lost it. That was the reason they're all on there. And unfortunately, it just turned out that Medvedev's probably the one you'd expect to win the most, and he was the one who lost in straight sets. So not much you can do about that. All they can do is improve. But if they don't do well, as we know, Sabalenka, she's going to be playing in I believe she's playing in a match. Is that this evening? I think she's the last match on in Eastbourne tonight against Bernarda Pera. If she loses that, that's her last preparation in time for Wimbledon. So it's not going to be looking good. But hopefully she gets the job done and we get to see a really good Sabalenka entering Wimbledon.
Yeah, no, I agree, because I think she can go very far as well. I think we're just seeing the end of some of the Wimbledon qualifications. We've got Machak playing right now, and it's 8-all in the third set.
Whoa, what, really?
Yep.
Oh, come on, Mahach. We need Tommy Robredo, mate. Rolling back the years.
Yeah. What a legend, man. I love Robredo.
Loves it, mate.
We've got Xander Zanslap serving for the match.
Nice.
He could do all right. We've got Selikbeek, one of my favourites, being Kostin Lestian. He's up a break in the third.
Do you want to go through some of the other people? Do you want me to bring them up on the screen, or are you?
Yeah, we can quickly do that, and then we'll wrap it up because I think I've got a shoot. Who's only going to do a quick one.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
Just looking at some of the people on the men's, I've got them up here. You got Mochizuki. This is a really good one.
Yeah.
Who I had as my stocks to watch. I believe he actually won Wimbledon in the juniors. And he's not really done much since then. We're playing in the ITS. Beat Hugo Gaston today.
So many
really good for him.
Yeah,
there's a lot of them. So we'll just pick a few ones. But the GB one, I think Matusevic, another player who we really like and talk about a lot. He bageled Jansen in the second set. I don't know who Jansen is, if I'm honest. But I'm glad he's got through. Nakashima did well to beat a tricky Vukic. Obviously, we know Vukic beat Alcaraz here last year in the qualification or the year before.
Thomas Fabiano. Liam's going to be disappointed. Fabiano crashes out to what a tough draw though. Talon Griekspoor in the first round of qualifying. We got Troitsky. He's made it through. He's one of the veterans now in the game. Chris O'Connell, friend of the podcast. He's made it through. Come on, Chris. Let's see if you can get through 9-7 in the third there. Great stuff.
Surprised it was so close, if I'm honest. I didn't think Horansky had any grass court.
Nah, I thought he was more clay.
Form. Yeah.
Yeah, interesting to keep. We got Tomic. He's made it through. Anybody else of
Taberna's a big one for me in straight sets, beating Colorino. His first ever match on grass.
Yeah,
never seen him before. Young Spanish player, really good clay quarter. Let's see how he gets on. We had JM Serendolo. He lost, unfortunately, took a card. That can happen. But I think the other Serendolo won, so it makes up for it. And he beat Melingo Rodriguez. So yeah.
Here we go.
All in all, there's a few, but there's so many on the women's as well. We had Marchenko, but we'll go through these in more detail when we do our PowerPoint, picking up some of our qualifiers to watch for the tournament. We're probably going to wrap this up now. So big shout out to everyone who joined us. Like the video if you haven't already. Hit the subscribe button. And we'll see you maybe tomorrow or the next day. Maybe Thursday. I think we're going to do our next podcast. So hopefully we'll see you all Thursday.
Indeed, guys. Take care and come on, England.
Go on, England.